Paris and the city of light, luxury, and legends is where reputations are made and unmade. And when Meghan Markle walked into Paris Fashion Week, many expected thunder. Cameras flashing, applause echoing, whispers of a royal return to global glamour. But what she got instead was silence. Inside the Balenciaga show, the atmosphere was icy. No cheers, no fanfare, only murmurs. A duchess at Fashion Week should cause chaos. But this time, the noise came from whispers. Whispers that carried more weight than applause. From the outside, it looked like her grand comeback. Cameras clicked, lights bounced off her black heels, and the scene screamed prestige. But behind the curtains, a very different story was unfolding, one that would turn a glamorous weekend into a viral cautionary tale. Witnesses described an awkward air as she entered. No hugs, no smiles, only eyes watching closely. It wasn't the welcome of an icon. It was the hesitation of a crowd unsure what to make of her. In Paris, silence speaks louder than applause, and that silence set the tone. Even the paparazzi seemed distant, their lenses snapping almost out of habit. Editors who usually rush for selfies kept their distance. One insider reportedly said, "Nobody wanted to be caught standing too close." The rumors that followed were equally strange. Online chatter claimed that something about her aura, her energy, even her scent, had unsettled people backstage. Of course, these were unverified claims, passed around the internet with the speed of gossip. But in Paris, reputation spreads like perfume and fades just as fast. Whether exaggeration or invention, the whispers shifted the focus. By the end of the night, people weren't talking about Balenciaga's designs. They were talking about Meghan. Paris can forgive scandal. It thrives on it. But what it never forgives is inauthenticity. Insiders hinted that her outfit wasn't a gift or a special collaboration. The garments were reportedly borrowed samples. Tags still attached, no tailoring, no customization. In fashion language, that's a quiet but clear message. You're not part of the circle. Celebrities with real pull are showered in couture. Meghan, it seemed, had to return everything. As one stylist allegedly quipped, Balenciaga didn't crown her. They tolerated her. That backstage truth clashed violently with the front row performance, chin high, smile bright, posing like she owned the city. But Paris, a city that has seen centuries of royalty and rebellion, saw through the act. Then came the story that shook the internet, a rumor darker than fashion politics. Reports online claimed that after the show, Meghan's car drove through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, the very same route where Princess Diana's life tragically ended in 1997. Her team quickly clarified it was simply the route back to her hotel. Nothing symbolic, nothing planned. But in Paris, nothing ever feels like coincidence. Social media lit up. TikTok edits showed Meghan's car juxtaposed with haunting footage of Diana's final moments. Some users called it eerie. Others accused her of intentional symbolism. Critics said it was insensitive. Supporters said it was blown out of proportion. Still, the story spread. Paris, the city that still mourns Diana, took it personally. Local tabloids ran headlines questioning the coincidence. International outlets reported cautiously, noting how her admiration for Diana has long been public. Commentators asked, how could she not know? After all, this was the woman who once called herself Diana 2.0. To some, that drive through the tunnel wasn't coincidence, it was theater. But the real storm was yet to come. Online, fans began connecting dots between Meghan's narrative and the media empire she once condemned. For years, she had positioned herself as the victim of ruthless tabloids, hunted, misunderstood, compared to Diana at every turn. She warned the world the press might destroy her the same way it destroyed Harry's mother. And yet critics pointed out the contradiction. Meghan and Harry's most explosive interview, the one that shook the monarchy, was broadcast by CBS, the same American network that once aired coverage of Diana's final hours for global ratings. How can you condemn media exploitation, one analyst wrote, and then partner with the network that profited from it? It wasn't just irony. For many, it was hypocrisy carved into prime time. Online forums buzzed with comparisons, showing CBS headlines from the 1990s beside Meghan's Oprah interview. One viral comment read, "She blames tabloids for Diana's suffering, but works with the same machine." To Meghan's critics, Paris had just exposed what they saw as a pattern, a brand built on contradiction. Behind the glamorous veneer, insiders whispered about recycled speeches, ghost-written statements, and a lack of clear direction. Even former staffers described her as demanding but unfocused, a leader obsessed with image more than purpose. And in Paris, image is everything. When designers choose who sits in their front rows, they don't just choose celebrities, they choose cultural weight. And Paris that week saw Meghan not as a muse, but as a marketing risk. By the third day of Fashion Week, the buzz had shifted. It wasn't about her dress anymore, or the tunnel, or the symbolism. It was about something colder, the collective avoidance. Reports claimed that designers, stylists, and editors subtly kept their distance. One photographer told a local blog, "I've never seen someone stand so alone in a room so crowded." Images of Meghan posing solo went viral. Side-by-side comparisons flooded Twitter. Meghan in borrowed Balenciaga next to Rihanna in custom couture. Zendaya embraced by Valentino. Kim Kardashian surrounded by Balenciaga's creative team. The captions were merciless. One of these women was invited. The other borrowed the invite. Even fashion critics joined the chorus. One French editor wrote, "Paris does not reward pretense. Clothes must fit the soul, not just the body." Another commented, "Her look was assembled, not bestowed." In the coded language of couture, those were daggers. Because in fashion, desperation is deadlier than scandal. Online, the shift was unmistakable. Fans who once defended her now questioned everything. Comment threads turned sharp. Maybe the palace saw something we didn't. Paris hadn't just rejected Meghan's style. It had rejected her symbolism. Diana was authenticity. Meghan, many said, was imitation. And the irony was cruel. Meghan had come to reclaim the Diana legacy, but instead the city that adored Diana saw through the performance. It wasn't about perfume or dresses, it was about credibility. Fashion runs on cultural currency, and in just a few days, Meghan's stock had crashed. Even Hollywood began to take notice. Analysts warned that if major fashion houses were stepping back, streaming platforms might follow. One commentator said, "If you can't command loyalty in fashion, you risk losing it everywhere else." Spotify had already parted ways, Netflix was cooling off, and now Paris, the city that could have crowned her comeback, had instead written her cautionary tale. She came for validation. She left with humiliation, because in the city that defines elegance, silence isn't golden, it's fatal. And as Paris turned the page, the world watched a duchess fade quietly from its frame. But one question lingers. If Paris could expose Meghan Markle with one borrowed outfit and one fateful drive, what will Hollywood do when the spotlight shifts back? Because in this world, image is everything, and silence sometimes says it all. Like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the headlines, where image meets illusion and the truth hides behind the flashbulbs.